Going here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. And I'll have my notes pulled up, Tammy. So just let me know if you need me to stop for just a second. So, okay. So everybody kind of freaks out whenever I talk about intermittent fasting, and they're like, "You're crazy. You fast. You don't eat. What in the world?" Actually, I eat more food than what I've ever eaten. And Tammy, if you did the fast away for a little bit, so did you have a hard time getting your food in?
I did not. No.
Okay. That's
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of people do have trouble getting their food in because there's so much food to be eaten. So that's good. That's good. But with intermittent fasting, it's not a diet, but it's an eating schedule. And your body is always in one of two states. It's either fed or fasted. And in the fed state, anytime your body is digesting food, your body's insulin levels makes burning fat a challenge. So in the fasted state, though, if you go 8 to 12 hours after your body finishes digesting food, not eating but digesting food, your insulin levels are lower and your body is better able to reach into your fat stores for energy. So that's why we have you to fast. People rarely go into a fasted state throughout the day. In fact, the traditional theory of several small meals per day keeps us from ever reaching into the fasted state. Because like I said, it's 8 to 12 hours after your body finishes digesting the food, not after you stop eating. So that's why we do a 16-hour fast, and that's what I will have you guys to get to eventually, and I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. So that type of eating schedule of several small meals a day, it spikes our insulin levels throughout the day, and that hinders us from losing fat. And because insulin is actually is a fat-burning enemy, it truly is. It's not all bad, but when it's floating around freely out in your body and not in your cells doing what it's supposed to, then it can wreak havoc on fat burning, and it really hinders fat loss. So while eating several small meals per day can lead to weight loss, calorie deficits always do. You will likely be losing muscle and fat. So with this program, we want you to just lose fat. When you're losing calorie burning muscle, you're lowering your metabolic rate. So your metabolism is terrible. It makes it harder for your body to burn fat. You also become frustrated because you never feel toned or fit, even though you're working out and eating clean. So that is a lot of reason that a lot of people do not see results. So with intermittent fasting, that encourages your body to burn fat while maintaining your lean muscle mass. And you want to make sure that you maintain that muscle mass, because that muscle mass is what also burns fat. So you're eating to burn fat, and then you just naturally have that muscle that you've gained that is also burning fat. So you're turning your body into a fat burning machine. So, and the way that with a intermittent fasting schedule, you're mixing higher calorie consumption with lower calorie consumption periods. So you don't get hungry. You don't get as hungry as when you're not eating. So that's how you can make it through your fast, is you're eating so much when you're during your eating window. So unlike restricting calories, intermittent fasting does not lower the body's metabolic rate, like I said earlier, long term. In fact, it increases it. It makes intermittent fasting an incredibly effective weight loss strategy, even for obese people. It's also been shown in scientific studies to be a more effective form of weight loss than calorie restriction alone. With our program, you do go into a little bit of calorie deficit, but not much. You're going to be eating a whole lot of food, okay? And your settings will depend on your weight and your activity level, and I'll go some more into that later. Intermittent fasting is better at helping people maintain lean muscle mass than diets that simply restrict calories. Everybody asks me, so how does intermittent fasting work? After you eat, your body works hard to digest your meal. So as you break down your meal in your digestive tract, nutrients are released into your bloodstream. So that means your body often has excess fuel, and that excess gets stored as fat. When you fast, your body has to rely on its energy stores by burning fat and glycogen. So through intermittent fasting, you train your body to burn fat instead of storing it. So you are now a fat burner and not a sugar burner. So that is, you're using fat for energy and not sugar. Intermittent fasting affects the body's hunger hormones, leptin, ghrelin, and insulin. Some studies have even shown that intermittent fasting may impact the hypothalamus in the brain, so that which causes the fat loss benefits that we see. So that's a very good thing. Intermittent fasting is not only great for weight loss or fat loss. It's been shown to reduce the risk of coronary artery disease, as well as reducing insulin resistance, which can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Or even if you are a type 2 diabetic, doing intermittent fasting can actually help your blood sugar levels, and could actually, even with your doctor's guidance, help you get off of some medication even. And type 2 diabetes is curable with diet and exercise. And intermittent fasting is a very, very effective way to get your blood sugar levels down and to be able to, control it with diet and exercise. The Cleveland Clinic also notes that both of these benefits for patients who have fasted in some way. So it also biomarkers of the brain aging can be slowed by intermittent fasting, and who doesn't need that? I need my brain. And actually, I have noticed a huge difference in brain fog. I do not have that as much. I may have it every once in a while, but it's usually if I didn't hit my macros the day before, or macronutrients is what we call it, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. If I didn't eat enough the day before, then I can tell it the next day for sure. So your body gets used to having all this fuel, and when you don't eat, you can definitely tell it. But a lot of the brain fog that I was experiencing was hypoglycemia, because I was not eating enough food. So that's why I'm gonna, I'll be on to you to make sure that you're eating enough. So, but an intermittent fasting diet has also been shown to reduce Alzheimer's like behavior changes, and it can actually extend lifespans. And those studies have been done in animals. So, and typically, the studies they do in animals, if it's effective there, then it is usually effective for us also. So according to research by John Hopkins, neuroscience professor, fasting not only wards off Alzheimer's, but also other neurological diseases like Parkinson's disease. Back on Alzheimer's, a lot of people are referring to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes, because it has been shown to be caused possibly by an increased insulin level and out of control blood sugar levels. So that is a huge, huge thing. If you know anybody that's affected by Alzheimer's, it's a devastating disease. So the study also showed fasting can improve memory and mood, and I have noticed a big difference in that. I don't have those peaks and valleys and stuff, and feeling good and being on top of my game, and then all of a sudden, just having that plummet during the day. Don't notice that as much anymore, if even, usually if I do, it's because maybe I've got an illness or something, maybe picked up a virus or something. It's typically not, that's typically the only times. Let's see here. That same professor says getting your brain to work even without food for a while can help train your stress response to cope with disease. And it protects neurons in your brain against the plaques that doctors often find in Alzheimer's. So those plaques that build up in your veins and arteries, that stress response that can come from, it is a good stress response that can come from intermittent fasting, helps to train your brain to fight against those plaques. So, it's just amazing at what all it can do. So I'll kind of give you the lowdown really quick on some health benefits of intermittent fasting, and I'm not going to go into detail on those, but it can improve your hormone profile. And I have noticed that I have not had hot flashes since I've been on the faster way to fat loss. I was taking supplements for that, and I've actually been able to decrease my supplements and still not see the hot flashes. So that's amazing. And I'm 45 years old, and I was in early menopause because of the wreck that my body was in. So it's still lots of ways to go, but oh my gosh, it's so much better than what it was. So it also helps with increased life expectancy, maintenance of skeletal muscle mass, decreased blood glucose levels, decreased insulin levels, but also increased insulin sensitivity, which means that your body uses insulin more effectively. It increases the breakdown of fats and fat oxidation. I can't talk. It increases your norepinephrine and epinephrine levels, which also increases fat breakdown. And it also increases your glucagon levels, which breaks down fat. Glucagon is totally different than glycogen or glucose. But the glucagon, it breaks fat down. And then it also helps with increased growth hormones, which preserve muscle mass. So, while the health and wellness industry has taught us the best way to keep your metabolism revved up is to eat several small meals per day or throughout the day, it's actually, there's little to no research to back that myth up. In fact, metabolism has little to do with eating periods, and it's mostly closely related to the amount of muscle mass that you have in your body. So it's very good to exercise on this program, and I highly encourage you to, but if you cannot, knowing that the intermittent fasting that is going to cause you to burn fat and reserve your muscle mass is huge. So, that's going to help with you keep your metabolism up while you're losing that fat, even if you're not exercising. So it's a great program. So even if you're not going to be exercising, but the more lean muscle you have, the faster your metabolism. And this is why we utilize strength training workouts in a faster way, so that clients are able to effectively build muscle that will increase their metabolic rate. So I will get off all the scientific information and tell you a little bit about how to get started with intermittent fasting. Tomorrow, that's what we're going to focus on, is intermittent fasting and our low carb day. Our low carb day will be Monday and Tuesday, and then I will post some more information about regular macro days, what we call it, where you eat all of your macros. And then here in just a minute, I'm going to show you how to set up MyFitnessPal so that this video doesn't go on forever and ever. So there are several different intermittent fasting protocols. However, the one that I recommend is the 16-8 method daily. So fasting for 16 hours and eating for 8 hours. It allows your body to daily reset itself without feeling too restrictive. So, and it makes it a strategy that's easy to sustain long term. I've been on this program now for 8 months. Never in my whole life have I ever stuck to something so good for so long, ever. I do not feel like I'm on a diet. I could almost could cry telling you about how phenomenal I feel. And I still have my days just like anybody else, but it has just been a life changer for me. So with the intermittent fasting schedule that we do, it makes, there are times whenever we do have our clients to do a 24-hour fast, an optional 24-hour fast, that gives the body a more significant resting period, but that's only once per month. But so the most part, we stick to the 16-8 protocol. And 24-hour fast should never be done unless you're under the guidance of a coach. And intermittent fasting actually should be done under a coach also, because you have to make sure that you're eating enough where you're going to break your thyroid. Your hormones are going to be out of whack. It can cause some really untoward things to happen to your body. So you don't ever want to do that without counting your macros and knowing how much to eat. So here's how I want you to get started. In the morning, I want you to skip breakfast and don't eat anything until lunchtime. If you absolutely have to, go ahead. If you start feeling, like you're getting dizzy or, lightheaded, anything like that, make sure you go ahead and eat then. Some people need to start with a 12-12 schedule. So fast for 12 hours, eat for 12 hours. And then the next day, try to eat for 10 hours and fast for 14 hours. And then the next day, try to get to the schedule that we're going to, stick to the rest of the week, which would be an 8-hour eating window and 16 fast. So tomorrow, try not to eat anything until lunchtime. And when you do, make sure that it's a balanced meal, whole foods. If you follow my meal plan, you will naturally be eating low carb. And I've already got the first 2 days posted in the group, the 2 low carb days. So if you follow that, then you will be, already eating low carb. If you don't follow that, look at the tip sheets that I posted earlier, and that gives you some ideas of some foods that you should eat on low carb days. And I'll go over more information here in just a minute about what to do on low carb days and how to eat. So if you start eating at lunch tomorrow around noon, then you would stop eating at 8 p.m. and then start again eating at 12 o'clock the next day. You don't have to do 12 to 8. You can do 10 to 6, 11 to 7, whatever you choose to do is perfectly fine. So just try to get to that 16-hour fast by tomorrow if you possibly can. But like I said, if not, go ahead and eat. I don't want you feeling bad and, getting dizzy or anything like that. So make sure that you listen to your body. So once you've done that, then we'll continue that each day for the rest of this week. And then I want you all to let me know if you have any questions, if there's any problems, let me know. Let's see here. Let me scroll down just a little bit more. This is a lot of information, and I want you to realize that this is 7 days. So you're not going to get it all right in 7 days, but I want you all to be able to see how the faster way to fat loss works and what we do in the program so that you can decide whether you want to make the investment in it before you actually make the investment. So during your fasting window, you can have 45 calories or less. You need to make sure that it's something that doesn't have fiber in it, and try to keep it without sugar. I don't encourage you to eat anything sugar-free that's labeled as sugar-free because that has chemicals in it and they're horrible for you. I typically recommend water, herbal tea, black coffee, or what we call BCAAs. Those are something that you take post-workout to help your body to recover. And if you got any questions about BCAAs, those are on the meal plan about where to find those and what kind. During your eating window, you're going to track your macros or your macronutrients using MyFitnessPal. So I will tell you all how to do your MyFitnessPal splits and how to set it up here in a few minutes. We're not going to restrict calories. So it's important to get all of your macronutrients in, your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. On tomorrow and Tuesday, we are going to eat lower carb, but we're going to eat very high fat to make up for those calories that we don't get with our carbohydrates. I'll go over that some more here in just a few minutes. Try to work out while you fast if you possibly can. It really helps maximize your hormone output and it increases your metabolic rate. So if you cannot get that workout in, do not stress, and don't let it keep you from doing your workout later in the day. It's still going to be beneficial, very, very beneficial. So make sure that you have a plan and plan for what you're going to eat during your eating window. If possible, go ahead and put it in MyFitnessPal ahead of time. And if you don't eat it, take it out. And if you eat something else, just put it in along with it. But that way you can kind of see where you're at with your macronutrients. On the meal plan that I posted, you'll adjust your servings based on your macro demands and what MyFitnessPal tells you that you need to eat. Okay, so let me see here. Talked about that. So let me kind of tell you a little bit about the schedule, and I'm going to post a graphic that will have the schedule on it so that you will not be overwhelmed. You can refer to the graphic. But on Monday, I'm just going to let me just go review it, so don't get overwhelmed. Okay, this will be posted, and you can just it'll be at a glance for you. Okay, so on Mondays and Tuesdays, that's day 1 and 2. Those are low carb days. On Mondays, we will do sprints with that, and I will post your exercises here in a little while. And then on on Tuesdays, you will do what I call high intensity interval training, and I will post that for you also. The workouts are all going to be 30 minutes or less so that you don't have to have your time restricted. And what I'm going to post is I'm going to post mainly at home workouts, but they can probably be, carried over to the gym if you really feel like you need to go to the gym. Hold on just a second. Promise I'm not drinking beer. This is kombucha. It's a probiotic drink that I love to drink. So we're starting our sugar detox, 21-day sugar detox in the membership community tomorrow. So I'm trying to prepare for that. So let's see. So what we do is, let me go on to Wednesday, day 3. It's what we call a regular macro day, and the rest of the days are all regular macro days. So what that means is that you will eat everything that MyFitnessPal tells you to. So if it tells you to eat 130 grams of protein, 230 carbohydrates, or 65 fats, then you're going to try to hit all of those goals. You're going to try to hit all of those. It's going to take a little while. So what I tell everybody to do is to eat until they're 80% full. And then once hunger starts coming back again, even a little bit, go ahead and eat. That will typically stir the hunger response back up. So you'll be eating more. And the first few days, it is going to be hard for you to get your food in, okay? So there's some, tricks that I can tell you if you're having a hard time with that. So with pairing all of these things up, it really just, it helps you, it helps your body to change your body composition a whole lot. So day 4, on day 3, you will do strength training. And actually the rest of the days you will do strength training other than Friday and Sunday. And those are our rest days. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday are strength training days. And then Friday and Sunday are our rest days. On Saturday, that is treat day. We pair that with leg day because our legs are the biggest muscle group in our body and they burn more fat. So we, are building up those large muscles, burns more fat. So we pair that with our treat day. So that treat day means that you can have whatever you want as long as it fits within your macro goals. So you will still track those. What I tell everybody to do is eat a healthy meal first, at least, and then add your treats in a little bit and add them into MyFitnessPal ahead of time if you know what you're going to eat, and that way you kind of can see where you're at. So I will post the details on our eating cycle, workout cycle in just a little bit, and that way it'll be seamless for you, okay? So the reason this program is so successful is because we've paired the food cycle based on intermittent fasting and carb cycling with specific workouts, and that really maximizes the effects of the food cycle, okay? So try to keep the workouts with the food cycle that we have for the day. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and on my phone, let's see here, okay. And I'm going to go to MyFitnessPal app, and I want to go over some stuff with you. It'll take just a second. Okay, so and before I get going too far, don't do the premium version of MyFitnessPal. You don't need it for this, okay? So do not do that. Oh, well, shoot. Okay, now let me get back to minimize everything else in the background. Okay, so this is what MyFitnessPal, you can see I have 1,850 calories per day. That's because I'm set at active, and we'll go over that here in just a little bit. But I want to go into our settings first before I do anything, and I want you all to go down to apps and devices and steps. We want to make sure that we do some things in those settings. So go to apps and devices, and then I want to make sure, go to connected right here. And make sure, I can't get this to go away. I don't have this watch anymore. Make sure that you don't have any devices connected. So if you have an Apple Watch, a Garmin, anything, or a Fitbit or anything like that, make sure that you disconnect those devices, because we are not going to be adding in your exercise calories or your step calories because you're already eating enough, okay? So you do not want to do that. So you're going to go back to all. And if you don't have to do anything else there basically. So you're going to go back. And then you are going to go to steps, and you're going to put do not track steps, okay? So you don't want to track them on your iPhone, your watch, or anything. You do not want those calories added back in because you're already going to be eating enough food. So just go back there and then go to goals. And then you're going to put your starting weight. And then you don't worry about your current weight or your goal weight. You can put your goal weight if you want to. But you have to put something there, but just don't give too much thought to it, okay? On your weekly goal, or your weekly goal means how many pounds you want to lose per week. I encourage everybody to do half a pound. If you've got 60 or more pounds, you can do 1 to 1.5 pounds per week if you want, to make sure that you are getting enough food and that you're not really feeling too deprived. This program is not about deprivation at all. So if y'all start feeling hungry all the time, then you need to let me know. We may need to do some adjustments. And typically when we do adjustments, we adjust up on macros, not down, okay? On activity level, mine is at active. That's because I work out and I do the workout plan. If not, I'm gonna just go in here and just let you all see. So not very active means that you sit on the couch, you sit for work all day, you get no activity whatsoever, okay? Lightly active means that you might have a desk job, but you are active at home. You may work out every once in a while. That would be lightly active. And then active means that you work out, 4 to 5, probably 4 days a week. I probably could go to very active if I wanted, but my hunger is perfectly fine where it's at. If I ever increase my activity, then I would go to very active. But most people don't. You have to be very, very active actually to be able to be very active. So most people are going to be between lightly active and active. So there you go. So now we're going to go here to nutritional goals, and you're going to go to calories, carbs, proteins, and fats, and that's our macronutrients. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your split, and I don't know why it keeps on kicking it back for me. So on your carbohydrates, you're going to click on that, and you want to put your carbohydrates at 45%. You want to keep your protein, put it at 25%. And then you want to put your fat, keep it at 30, and that equals 100%. So I'm going to click that, and it should keep it, even though I don't know why it keeps changing on me. So keep an eye on that. So then I'm going to hit the back button there. So now I have my macronutrients figured out for me. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the back button, and then you're going to go down here to diary. And then you're going to scroll down all the way to the bottom, and you're going to hit nutrition. And so you want to be in this nutrients tab all the time, okay? You want to, don't worry about sending me calories or macros here. Always do the nutrients, okay? So you can see, this is very unusual for me. I've usually put my macros in for the day. I've got them written down, but I've not had my phone with me. I've had grandbabies and all that stuff, so I've not got everything in there. So this tells you what your total that you've eaten for the day, and then you see right here your goal for the rest of the day, and then how much you have left. So I don't really have 116 grams of protein left. I've pretty much eaten all my food. But this is where you're going to hang out. So you're going to be looking at your proteins, carbohydrates, and your fat, okay? I know everybody's overwhelmed probably right now, but trust me, this is going to click. This is 1 week, so there's no way that you're going to get it 100%. But you're going to be close, and you can kind of see how the program works. Okay, so that's pretty much it on MyFitnessPal. I do want to show you something that's not necessarily MyFitnessPal related, but how to know how many net carbs that you've had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something in, and I'm going to put that I had. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of something I've had with carbohydrates in it. So for lunch, I did have, let me do this actually, let's see, for snacks, I had some kombucha. And then it's gonna add that one. And you can see here, it's got 14 carbohydrates. So I'm gonna add that in, and then I'm gonna add in, let's see here, some quinoa, which is a really good thing to eat on your carb day. Let me say this real fast. In our program, we break this down a whole lot slower. You won't be jumping right into low carb and tracking macros and all that at one time. So, but you'll, for this program, this is the only way that I could get you to really kind of see how it works. So I'm going to put that in. And so I'm going to then, let me do some, I did not have rice, but just for today, for this, I'm going to put it in. And then act like I had that. So you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down at the bottom and go to nutrition. And then you're going to look at here. I had 137 grams of carbohydrates, and I had 13 grams of fiber. Okay. So what I would do to know my net carbs, tomorrow you want 50 net carbs, tomorrow and Tuesday. You want 50 net carbs. And I'll post more information about this in the morning so that you will know what to do. Okay, I'll be posting every day, every morning. So 137 carbohydrates minus 13 grams of fiber would be 124 net carbs. On Mondays and Tuesdays, those are the only days you worry about net carbs. So if this was a low carb day, then I actually would have went over, because we are supposed to stay at under 50 net carbs. So again, let's say you had 60 carbohydrates, 10 grams of fiber, that's 50 net carbs, okay? If you have any questions about that, post it in the comments of this video and I will be right back to you. I'll be trying to watch for comments and everything today. So let me see. So tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, we're going to focus on 50 net carbs. And then on your fat, I want you to be over right here. It should be a negative. See how this has got a negative? That means you went over, and it's in red. That means you went over. I want you to be negative 30, between 20 and 30 grams of fat, so that you can fill in that gap of calories that you're not getting from your carbohydrates. You fill that in with fat. So if you do that, then just watch your calories and make sure you don't go over on your calories. Okay, this program doesn't necessarily focus on calories, because by focusing on macronutrients, you get higher quality calories. Okay, all right. So now that I've probably overwhelmed you, but just watch this video, write your questions down, put the questions in the comments. If you have a question, I don't mind you private messaging me, but I do prefer that you post that in the comments in the group. Because I would rather everybody see your question, because they probably got that question also, okay? So let's see here. So the next training will be on Tuesday. I will announce the time. I'll be back on Tuesday to talk more about regular macro days again, just to kind of get you all pumped up. I will have the meal plan for that up tonight for regular macro days, but I won't have the shopping list in probably until tomorrow afternoon. So just bear with me on that. So you'll have enough to focus on. I don't want to give you too much and it gets overwhelmed to go to the grocery store and have to buy all of this stuff for several days. And that's the last thing I want to do, because I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you this week. And I hope it doesn't deter you. Trust me, whenever you start this, if you start the My Faster Way to Fat Loss program, we will take it a lot slower. And this information is done over a 6-week period. But by doing this 7 days, then you will already be far ahead on everything, and you can actually kind of actually go ahead and start doing things a little bit sooner than what you're supposed to. So, and I can help you with that. So what I've decided to do is, actually God kind of laid it on my heart to just to give everybody's money back for this, and make this a free program. So by tomorrow evening or Tuesday sometime, depends on what my work day is like tomorrow, I'm going to refund everybody's money back. I will send it in PayPal, and I will make sure that I give you enough to cover any fee that you'll have to pay to put that money back in your checking account or whatever. So like $7.50 or something like that. But I want this to be a free program, because I want it to be something that just introduces you to the faster way to fat loss. And I don't really want to focus on anything other than that. And I want to make sure that you guys have, a good experience. So let's see here. If you all have, or if you want to download the Marco Polo app, it's an app to where you can video chat with me. And then as soon as I can get to it, then I will look at it. I won't be able to pick it up and respond back to you right then, but I will be able to see you on video. But if it's a question that needs to be asked in the group, please ask that question. But if it's something that you need that's maybe private or personal or whatever, you can use that app, the Marco Polo app, to do that. My phone number is 606-521-5048 if you need to add me on the Marco Polo app, okay? All right, guys. I think I've got all of that, everything laid out there and all the questions answered. Tammy, do you have any questions? Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end the meeting, and I will talk to you guys later. If y'all need anything, just let me know, okay? See ya. Have a good evening.